Hi, I'm Matt from HockeyReviews.ca, and this is the very first snapshots video. So again, this is just a quick kind of a review thing of just a product that don't have time to do a full review on, or to be honest, I'm just borrowing these gloves too. To just do a quick test, just to talk about some of the features I like, some of the changes. The QRL Pros and the QRLs were one of my favorite gloves. There's some things I wanted Warrior to improve on. So we'll kind of see if they did that in the QR Edge. The biggest change, as you can see right away, is it's now a 3-piece design on the backhand compared to a 6-piece, where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For the new one, it's just 3. Now, I think the idea that Warrior mentioned is that it adds more surface for but protection, where the bigger the surface area, the more impact dispersion. I don't know if that totally works or not. I did the hit test, and honestly, depending on where you hit here, it hurt a little bit more than on this one. Now, it could just be lucky. Maybe pucks are definitely better than a mini stick. So I'm not totally going to comment on them because I haven't used them in a game, and I won't use them in a game. But with that said, I'm not a huge fan of the 3-piece design. I always text mobility by doing the pinky to thumb, by closing your hand like this. And with the 3-piece design, it is a little bit harder to get your hand over there. Now, and when you close it like this, which is really kind of showing off how much it kind of bends, it is a little bit less mobile than the older version. Now, there is some gaps in there. Again, mini stick, so it's not that thick, but you can get a mini stick in there. Now, obviously, a stick is thicker and it won't really get in there as easy, but I'm not a huge fan of how big of a gap it creates, especially down here. Because of the 3-piece design, whereas the older one does have gaps like right there, but I can't actually get as close to my hand as I could on this one. I do like how it forms so the way your hand moves better that way. Now, Warrior has done some things on the palm. They added the wraparound palm to the index finger. I think Bauer did this on the 190s back in the day. I don't really know why this is there personally. They say it's for added grip or stick handling and more contact with the stick, or maybe it's feel. Personally, I think it's kind of a gimmick. You still have that nylon binding right there that would kind of get in the way, and as well, it's plastic behind there, so I don't know if you're going to feel that through. Maybe it's a wear patch. If it's a wear patch, great, no problems. You can see in the old ones, didn't really have that. Now I know they're pros, but similar design. Warrior really did a good job on the new AxiFlex cuff in terms of how it bends forward. Because of how this is one piece and they made this piece much larger, I do like the two colors there compared to the old one where it was just much smaller. When you went like this, it really hit this block right here and kind of stopped flexing, whereas the new one, you can do it much more and it doesn't really feel like it gets in the way. Only when the fingers collapse it does, so much more mobile in terms of that cuff going back and forth. So great job by Warrior there. JR on Mod Squad had a good little write-up talking about some different designs elements on it. One is the cuff, where the top is now thick or bigger than the bottom, so this adds protection. A little bit bigger opening, it feels like, where the old one had longer pieces here and the smaller pieces up top. So there's a nicer, a little bit more refined design there, which is always good in my eyes. They slimmed down the foam package, as you can kind of see on the sides, more slimmer. To me, this glove feels less tight than this one does, so it kind of doesn't really feel more boxy, but it kind of feels more flat and a little bit wider. So I'm not sure if that will break down or like break in a bit more, feel a bit different, or how that is. Now, they do still have the wraparound piece right here, but I'm really happy how Warrior added this one piece right here. My concern about this type of wraparound palm that Warrior does is when sticks would go up, it would basically hit your palm straight through. So if you're closed, stick ramps up, it goes right into your palm. With this, it adds that protection to stop that. Before, it would basically just go like this right into your palm. Great job by Warrior on that. One of my complaints of the last few Warrior gloves has been the outer pinky protection, and it's still pretty lacking. This is something that I think they could take a look at CCM or Bauer, how they do it. Both are much nicer. If you check Mod Squad out for my QLT review, you'll see how these nice thick foam pieces there and plastic pieces that really do a good job on the outer pinky. Now, this glove has taken from the Alpha in terms of the butter soft feel. It feels broken in out of the box. It feels amazing out of the box. Super soft, super broken in. Take it off the shelf and it feels great in your hands. My complaints with the Alpha was that it would leave finger gaps because it was so broken in. I feel that the butter soft feel kind of leaves the padding gaps to be too much. It's the same here. So I can touch right back into my fingers right there, and it's a little more gap than it was on the older QRLs. So I believe, again, they go for that soft feeling right off the shelf over the protection here. I wish this was a little tighter. So it's kind of a gripe on my, or not a huge fan of. I like the spandex. It's super soft, it breathes well, it's comfortable. I do like how Bauer is using the Nash here. Spandex on the side, Nash on the index finger, so your fingers don't come out like this, and it keeps protection nice and tight. Seen CCM gloves do that on the Pro and Pro Stock gloves. I'm a huge fan of that. The foams are a big upgrade. Before they were soft, and you could kind of squish the bottoms below the plastic insert. Now they're very, very hard, so they are not squishy at all, and so hopefully better impact protection. Now, when I did my impact test between these two, honestly, I felt that this one had a huge increase on here, so way more protective and doesn't hurt nearly as much on the top cuff compared to right here. So good job on Warrior on that. On the backhand, depending on where it hit, if it got right here, it hurt worse than it did on most spots here. The thumb was about the same, not much of a difference from what I could really tell in my quick test. And the fingers are the same complaint I have on the alphas, where they're kind of, because they're so broken in, when they get hit, they kind of turn to the side. Then when you close your hand, you're going to lock that up a little bit more, but it's still, like, it doesn't give me a ton of confidence in the fingers. They're comfortable, and I think if you're, like, the beer league, just the slashes and blocking shots, I wouldn't be too thrilled about that. It was one of my gripe with these. Fingers on pucks hurt. Of course, they're always going to hurt. But it just wasn't the best. So that's about it for the very first snapshot video. Again, not a full review, just wanted to go over some of the changes in the QR Edge glove compared to the QRL Pro, which was one of my favorite gloves. I personally don't think that these are a big enough upgrade to, if you have a QRL, to move to these. Now, again, personal preference, but I'm not upgrading. There are some nice changes. I really like this. I like how they did the cuff up here, and I like how they did this cuff, but I still like to see a few more things out of them to make them, in my opinion, one of the better gloves on the market. So that's about it. Hopefully it was kind of informative. Let me know what you think of this format. I'm going to try to get some videos for you a little bit shorter. This one's a little bit longer because it's kind of a review and I want to compare it to my old gloves. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Remember, I hate to say this, but I have to do it. Subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Descriptions are in the details below. Thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.